Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. We've had some requests to do a deep dive into Teacher by Freida McFadden.
Oh yeah, it's been a popular one.
So we're going to walk you through the key events in order and point out all those little details that make this story so gripping.
Yeah, and starting right from that opening scene,
Yeah,
it just grabs you right away. A woman digging a hole at night, clearly anxious, and thinking back to when she had help digging.
yeah. It's not your average gardening project, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Immediately, something's off. This isn't just, someone planting a tree.
Right, and that sets the tone for the whole book, really.
Totally dark and suspenseful right from the start.
Then we're introduced to Eve Bennett, a high school math teacher
Yeah.
who seems pretty unhappy in her marriage with Nate.
Oh, Nate, the hottest teacher at the school.
Yeah, everyone seems to think so, but there's this real lack of connection between them.
Yeah, you can tell right away that there's something missing there. And that disconnect really fuels Eve's insecurities.
Especially about her appearance,
Right. She's got this shoe shopping addiction.
which her husband uses to put her down.
Exactly. You start to see how trapped she feels in this marriage, how much she's longing for something more.
It's almost like he enjoys belittling her.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that going on. And then we meet Addie.
A student at the same high school.
Right. Her story is told alongside Eve's.
Yeah, parallel narratives.
Exactly. And Addie, she's an outcast, haunted by these rumors about a relationship she had with a former teacher,
So we've got two characters right off the bat.
both with their own baggage.
Yeah, definitely. And then their paths cross when Eve's assigned to teach Addie's math class.
And she remembers the scandal right away.
Of course, who wouldn't? She's immediately suspicious of Addie.
It makes their interactions so interesting.
Oh yeah, so loaded.
Because you're seeing both sides of the story, and they're both looking at each other through these lenses of their own experiences and biases.
Right, you're constantly questioning who to believe.
And your own perceptions, too.
Exactly. And then we have Nathaniel Bennett.
Oh, Nathaniel, the young and attractive English teacher.
Yeah, he comes in and really shakes things up for both Eve and Addie.
He's a catalyst for a lot of the drama that unfolds,
For sure, Eve finds herself drawn to him.
which just highlights how unhappy she is in her own marriage.
Right. He's everything that Nate isn't.
Charming, attentive.
And then there's Addie.
Yeah, she finds solace in Nathaniel's poetry class.
Develops a crush.
Oh, yeah, a big one.
Huh. Nathaniel, he's trouble from the start.
He's also kind of irresistible.
So as the story progresses,
Things get complicated.
Eve starts an affair with a shoe salesman, Jay.
Meanwhile, her obsession with Nathaniel keeps growing.
And Addie, she gets more and more entangled with Nathaniel.
He's giving her the attention and the escape that she's craving.
But then there's this other layer of complexity.
Right, the hints about a dark past between Addie and her former best friend, Hudson.
Who just happens to be dating Kenzie.
Oh, Kenzie, the popular girl who has it out for Addie.
Yeah, she puts Addie through the ringer.
It's classic high school drama, but with some seriously dark undertones.
And it all builds to this moment when Eve witnesses Nathaniel and Addie kissing.
And let me tell you, it's explosive.
Eve is already dealing with so much jealousy and insecurity.
And then she sees this, it's like a bomb goes off.
She confronts Addie in a drunken rage.
Things spiral out of control.
And Addie, in a moment of panic, ends up killing Eve.
It's a shocking turn of events.
But it shows how quickly things can escalate when emotions are running high and you're backed into a corner.
Exactly. And now they're left with this horrible secret.
A dead teacher.
And Nathaniel, instead of being the responsible adult,
Yeah, you'd think he'd know better.
he helps Addie cover up the death.
They bury Eve's body in a remote pumpkin patch.
It's a chilling image.
And it shows how far they're both willing to go to protect themselves.
But of course, the story doesn't end there.
Oh, no.
We've got a missing teacher,
And a detective who's determined to find out what happened.
Detective Sprague. She's not messing around.
She starts investigating. And Addie and Nathaniel start to feel the pressure.
The walls are closing in.
And then Kenzie drops a bombshell.
She reveals that she's been having an affair with Nathaniel for
It
years.
changes everything.
The whole carefully constructed facade starts to crumble.
Addie realizes how much Nathaniel has been using her.
He's devastated
And the tension just keeps ratcheting up.
as the truth starts to unravel.
Addie, desperate to break free from this web of lies, confesses everything to Detective Sprague.
And that confession sets off a chain reaction that leads to the climax of the story.
Nathaniel ends up trapped in the grave. He and Addie dug for Eve.
Talk about poetic justice.
He dug his own grave in a way.
And he's left to face the consequences of his actions.
It's a chilling end for a character who thought he could manipulate everyone and get away with it,
And then there's Addie.
left to deal with the fallout of her actions.
Her future is uncertain.
But there's a glimmer of hope in that final scene with Hudson,
He offers her support.
suggesting that even after such darkness, healing and redemption are possible.
It's a powerful message.
So much happened in this book.
Though we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we still have so much to unpack.
Definitely. There's a lot more to discuss about the themes of betrayal and manipulation and the impact of trauma on these characters' lives.
It's amazing how Freida McFadden, weaves together all these complex characters and their tangled relationships. Yeah, we talked about Eve's unhappiness in her marriage, but I thought her shoe addiction was really interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely more than just a quirky habit, right? It's like a symptom of her deeper unhappiness, this attempt to find something that makes her feel good.
Yeah, and the way Nate uses it against her.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He criticizes her spending, makes her feel guilty.
It's like a form of manipulation.
Exactly. He's chipping away at her self-esteem, making her more dependent on him.
So when Nathaniel's, this charming, attentive man comes along,
She's already vulnerable,
right, she's primed for an affair.
but it's also a recipe for disaster.
Especially given what we learn about Nathaniel later on.
Oh, yeah. He's not who he seems to be.
Speaking of vulnerability, let's talk about Addie.
Oh, Addie, she's going through so much.
Those rumors about Mr. Tuttle, the bullying from Kenzie,
It's relentless.
and those rumors about Mr. Tuttle.
They're really damaging whether they're true or not.
Yeah, they've made her an outcast.
And that isolation makes her even more susceptible to Nathaniel's manipulations.
He becomes this kind of savior figure for her.
Right. He listens. He understands when she feels like no one else does.
And you can't forget about the secret she's carrying about her father's death.
Oh, yeah. That guilt and trauma are always there under the surface,
It shapes all her interactions.
especially with Nathaniel.
She's desperate for connection, for someone to see her and understand her pain.
And Nathaniel, he exploits that need.
He blurs the lines between teacher and student.
Mentor and manipulator.
It's really disturbing how he uses his position of authority to take advantage of her.
Those secret meetings in the dark room.
A place that should be safe and creative,
It becomes a symbol of their forbidden connection.
but also the darkness that's consuming both of them.
Yeah, it's where they reveal their secrets and their desires.
But it's also where their boundaries are crossed.
And that path leads to Eve's death.
When she sees Nathaniel and Addie kissing,
Everything just explodes.
all that jealousy and anger comes pouring out.
It's like a powder keg.
And Nathaniel's the one who lit the fuse.
Eve's death is tragic.
But it also sets off a chain of events.
More deceit and manipulation.
Addie and Nathaniel decide to bury the body.
They're bound by this horrible secret.
The act of burying the body is like this physical manifestation of their guilt.
And their growing dependence on each other.
But secrets have a way of coming back to haunt you.
And that's where Detective Sprague comes in.
She's determined to find out the truth,
She's like this force of nature.
unraveling their lies.
And then Kenzie.
She reveals that she's been having an affair with Nathaniel for years.
It's a total game changer.
It reframes everything.
We see Nathaniel for who he really is.
A master manipulator.
Bang everyone.
It's a betrayal on so many levels.
And not just Addie, but Kenzie too.
She's a victim in all of this as well.
It's a reminder that even people who seem to have power can be manipulated.
And it's Addie who breaks the cycle of deceit.
Her confession to Detective Sprague,
It's a pivotal moment.
not just in the plot, but in her own journey.
She's taking responsibility for her actions.
She's reclaiming some control over her own narrative.
So it's like Addie's confession totally flips the script, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Nathaniel's been in control this whole time, calling all the shots.
Right.
But now he's trapped. The truth is out in the open, and everyone sees him for what he really is.
A predator.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who used his charm and intelligence to prey on these vulnerable women.
And that ending, trapped in the grave,
Oh, it's chilling.
like it's almost poetic justice.
Right. He digs this grave for Eve, but ends up in it himself.
He really did dig his own grave.
It's a powerful symbol of the consequences of his actions.
Like he thought he could just bury his secrets and get away with it.
But he ends up being the one who's buried.
Now, Addie, she made some terrible choices.
Yeah,
I still feel for her.
I get it.
She was manipulated and used by Nathaniel, and she's carrying so much guilt and trauma.
It's a lot for anyone to handle.
So her future is uncertain.
Right. But that last scene with Hudson.
It offers a sliver of hope, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's willing to stand by her.
Help her through it all.
It suggests that even after all that darkness, healing and redemption are still possible.
You know, it's a good reminder that people are complex, right?
Definitely.
Capable of both good and bad. And this book teacher really makes you question your own perceptions.
Oh, for sure. You find yourself sympathizing with these characters who've done these awful things.
And that's part of what makes Freida McFadden such a good writer.
Totally. She's not afraid to explore the darkness of human nature.
No, she makes you confront these uncomfortable truths about manipulation and betrayal and the impact of trauma.
It's not always easy to read, but it's powerful.
You know, one thing that really stayed with me was how the book portrays female rage.
That's interesting.
Both Eve and Addie experience it in different ways.
Right. Eve's rage is more outward focused,
Fueled by jealousy and betrayal.
while Addie's is more internalized.
Yeah, it simmers beneath the surface and then explodes in that moment of panic.
It's a reminder that women's anger is often dismissed or minimized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it can be this incredibly powerful force.
Both destructive and transformative.
Yeah, McFadden, she really gives a voice to that rage.
Explores all its complexities.
So, teacher, it's a book that stays with you long after you finish it,
It makes you think.
about the consequences of our choices and the weight of our secrets.
And the possibility of finding redemption even in the face of tragedy.
If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend giving it a go.
It's a wild ride that will keep you guessing until the very end.
And for those who have read it,
I hope this deep dive gave you some new insights into the characters and themes.
and the power of Freida McFadden's writing.
She's definitely a talented author.
So thanks for joining us.
We always appreciate you listening.
Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word.